From the outside, that first 2 hours probably looked like a bad trip. I don't think there's any such thing as a bad trip, maybe a badly planned trip, but I prefer to think about a challenging trip, and the challenging trips are often the most fruitful. And this was a challenging trip for the first half. It really was. Like if somebody was watching, what they would have seen is me just sobbing and wailing. And at one point I was like beating my chest like over and over again. And once it was gone, it was like, oh, God. That was incredible. And so the second half of the journey became bliss.
Benjamin Forrest is a retired military officer turned psychedelic best-selling author, speaker, and coach. His transformation began with a life-changing psilocybin journey that lifted him from decades of depression and into a radically new way of living. His work has helped countless people use plant medicine as a path toward presence and transformation. Benjamin teaches that psychedelics, when held with reverence, can heal trauma and guide us back to wholeness. But here's the question. When did plant medicine stop being medicine? Now this tea is piping hot. Because the reality I see is that somewhere along the way, sacred medicine became mainstream consumerism. Ceremonies turned into parties, initiations into Instagram content, and healing into dependency loops. So today, we're meeting here. Let's get into the medicine. No way. For me, personally, I'm curious about my listeners. If someone could be having a type of experience that, in my world as a psychic, I can see different entities latching, attaching. Like, I see it from more of an unseen realm versus like, I'm processing my own shadow and I'm having these, memories that are coming up that are being released. So from an unseen point of view, there's so much that happens in the plant medicine spaces that are unseen that personally, I would never cross that line to do it in a group setting. Well, hello, Benjamin Forrest.
Hello, Victoria. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the pod. Mm-hmm. You know that I like you because that is my queen's chair, and I let you take it. Otherwise, we both would have been washed out.
Yeah, we have a nice symmetry going. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we've got very similar vibes, but today we were like, let's swap.
Wonderful.
Yep. Well, let's get into it, my friends. Today we're going to have, hopefully, a really deep, honest conversation about the world of plant medicine. So let's begin with your origin story. I spoke a little bit about it in the bio, your come to God moment with your psychedelic journey, but I want to hear from your experience. What is your origin story with psychedelics?
Sure. So 25 years in the military, time in the halls of the Pentagon to the war zones of Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'm just going along doing my success checklist for being a man. I've got my 2 brilliant kids. I've got a long marriage going and real estate and stocks. And, as I'm aging, I can still just, feel really like healthy and just that man that I'm always like supposed to be. But damn, that came at a cost because I think I was so like trapped in this like prison of masculinity. I couldn't feel anything. Like it was just so turned off. And then at a certain point after my dad died and life kind of like collapsed for me, it became too much and it was like demanding my attention. Like whatever emotions I'd buried were demanding my attention. And tried everything to cure it, therapy, SSRIs, you name it. Ultimately, 5 years ago in November on Veterans Day of 2020, I walked into the emergency room of a VA hospital and I said, I want to die. And I was put in a psych ward for 3 days at this VA clinic. And then they released me. And all they gave me was some more pills and another referral to a therapist. So I thought, well, okay, I'll be my own fucking hero. I'll go cure myself. And so I quit my job. I decided to just devote all of myself to healing myself. And I quickly came across a TED Talk by Dr. Rosalind Watts from Imperial College, Can Magic Mushrooms Unlock Depression? And the way she was describing this medicine and what it could do, I knew instantly, this is it. So I found a safe ceremonial container in which to experience a heroic dose of mushrooms. There was a woman with a PhD in psychology holding this space, group ceremony. And I thought, okay, that feels safe. I can let go. And so there on the first night, I consumed 5 grams of psilocybin through a tea, and life was never the same again. The treatment-resistant depression was gone, and I knew with all my heart it was never coming back. And in November, will be 5 years from when that journey began, and the depression has never returned.
Never.
Never.
So we look at the world right now, and the state of the world right now, maybe in some timeline or version of you would potentially reactivate these feelings.
Yeah.
How are you navigating the state of the world right now?
So, that's a big question. And I would say that, like, now, like, I still feel sad, but the difference is now when I feel sad, I know why. And what depression was for me was almost feeling sad without even knowing why. Like, I was so out of touch with what was going on inside. It was just this, I don't know, clouded mystery of sadness. And if you don't know what's going on and you can't navigate it, it doesn't actually go away. But now, okay, I feel sad. These feelings come up. I can acknowledge those feelings, sit with them, express them in a healthy way, and then they're gone. And we don't get this like constipation that's in our heart. Like, I think for me, that's what psychedelics did. It opened up my heart. And then life became beautiful because when we're all locked up, it's not like the good feelings can get through, right? But now, I mean, I have experienced a joy, a bliss, a connection, a love, a purpose that I've never imagined was possible. And god damn it, life's also become really fucking fun. Like, I think this life is a gift and we're here to create and we're here to connect and fall in love. And I don't know, before psychedelics, I just couldn't access those places, as crazy as it sounds. So for me, like, it was a miracle. Like I describe it in the book, it was like God reached into my heart, flipped a switch, and brought me to life. And I call it a miracle in the opening. And when I went into that experience, I considered myself an atheist. And when I came out, yeah. Once you've experienced the divine, like, it's not even a matter of belief anymore. And it's also a very secure spirituality because I don't need to convince you or anybody else of it. And I'm not taking anybody else's word for it. Through psychedelics, I experienced the divine and a miracle.
I think in order for us to go as deep as this is meant to go, I want to backpedal a little bit because I feel like a lot of people can maybe resonate in the time that we're in the world, in the state of being that you maybe were at when you lost your father, and maybe even like the life that you had led up until that point. And I think we can all put a memory or an idea to this concept of a miracle, but something led you to that miracle, but also you had a story before that. And so I want to capture what that feeling of trappedness was like in your body, or this feeling of not being able to access love, God, the miracle of life. Help me understand what life was like for you before psychedelics.
So I existed within a pretty rigid and conventional structure. I am in the military and it's very clear what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm supposed to look like, how I'm supposed to behave. And, in my family, I am the provider and the protector and the breadwinner and all those like things a man's supposed to be. And it was almost like I was playing a role. And I played the role so long and so well, I thought it was me. And Jim Carrey has this definition of depression. Depression is your body saying, I don't want to play this fucking character anymore. And I think I was done playing military officer. I was done playing strong and vulnerable dad who can solve every problem. Like, these roles had become very tiresome for me and they weren't rewarding me and they weren't in alignment with my heart. And you can do something like that for a while. You might need to. But God, after 25 years, I needed to break out of this prison that had been built around me, either by myself or by the world, and to be genuinely me. On my business cards, I had a quote from Joseph Campbell: "The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are." And psychedelics, I think, allowed me to tap into the deepest part of myself and to release that out to the world. I'm still full of flaws, but I'm genuinely me. And like, there's a beauty to that. And it gives permission to other people to be genuinely themselves too. Right.
So when your father passed, in some part of my mind, even though that was probably the dark night of the soul, as maybe people might call it in spirituality.
It was a very long night. It went on a long time, but yes.
10 years, a long night, right? 3 years later. But in some ways, I wonder if that catalyzed the miracle, or if in maybe some way that was the miracle, even if it felt like death.
Yes.
Painful
Yes.
death, morbidly speaking, death.
Yeah, it was the most painful thing I'd ever been through.
Okay, tell me about that.
I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, something like that, like the death of the father, it can either bring a family together or it can tear them apart. And unfortunately, it tore my family apart. So it wasn't just like I had lost my father. I also lost my only brother over something that happened right after the death, and by extension, to some degree, my mom. So it just like my whole family of origin just got wiped out. And Benjamin's like broken.
Yeah.
And it felt like nobody cared.
Mm.
Because my, yeah, there goes my brother and there goes my mom. And to my wife, like, that's not my job to be hurt or in pain or in need.
So you had to
get back in
be-
your box. You're here to, provide and protect and do all your manly shit. So there's not really like room for it in the dynamics of our relationship to get the comfort I needed there. Most of my friends at that time were in the military. We're not the most emotionally accessible people in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, not that some of them weren't really sweet to me, they were, but yeah, it was like this intense like loneliness. Not only am I going through the hardest, most painful thing in my life, but I'm doing it all alone and I don't have any resources.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice that your father, was he similar to some of the behavioral traits that you had adopted? So it felt like when he died, it was like, well, now there's this part of me that I feel like I maybe inherited or adopted from him that now feels like, what the fuck's the point of it all?
I don't know. He was a lot more stoic than me.
Okay.
I think that was a point of tension between us. The very like, yeah, locked down, maybe baby boomer, British genes, father, stiff upper lip and all that. And then I don't know. I just was always this bundle of fire, right? And energy and emotion and stuff. So I don't think we could completely see eye to eye there, but I come to see, this actual gift in his death. Like there was a gift in his death. Like it was, I don't know, like in mythological terms, almost like he needed to die so his son could raise up or something.
Yes.
Or to wake me up to the reality that like, this ends. Don't waste your fucking life. Yeah. Don't come to the end of your grave and, feel like you haven't lived. I don't want to be, that man living in quiet desperation, like Henry David Thoreau said. I was kind of sleepwalking through life, very successful life, but I was not awake.
And then you also said that you were like this bundle of fire. Imagine trying to contain that fire. How long can someone contain that fire before it erupts? I think sometimes we can get so caught in the grief of the experience that sometimes we can forget that there's this intelligence that's running through life, and sometimes something has to be karmically removed for liberation.
Yeah.
So I feel like that part of your story was important. Thank you for sharing that and welcoming the listeners into that, because that really sets the stage for, like you said, you had the right safe space. And you said specifically, you could let go. Tell me about letting go in your psilocybin experience.
I mean, it is everything. Surrender is everything. That's the last chapter of the book. Not just in psychedelics, but in the spiritual path, right? So anyway, when I get down to the retreat center, like I'm all in. Like this is my mission in life, is to go in there and figure out what the fuck is wrong with me. Like it was like I was trying to solve this puzzle, but I didn't have all the pieces, and maybe they're back there somehow. Like, so I was on a mission. It was like, I think that's sort of like military mindset, that do or die. Like I was bringing that into the medicine. Like we're fucking going in there. Like, and all that, courage that is a part of me. Like, it's like, all right. And then as we're getting ready to drink the tea, the woman leading it's sharing all these instructions, and I'm just at this point feeling overwhelmed. So I literally crossed out all the notes I was taking and I wrote one word: surrender. And that was the word that I brought into the medicine with me. And like, it was absolute. It was like complete. Like if I was, willing to die, back on that Veterans Day, well, if I'm willing to die, maybe I can also be willing to live and go in there and, yeah, feel whatever needs to be felt. So from the outside, that first 2 hours probably looked like a bad trip. I don't think there's any such thing as a bad trip, maybe a badly planned trip, but
Mm.
I prefer to think about a challenging trip, and the challenging trips are often the most fruitful. And this was a challenging trip for the first half. It really was. Like if somebody was watching, what they would have seen is me just sobbing and sobbing and wailing. And at one point, I was like beating my chest like over and over again. I remember afterwards, like looking at myself in the bathroom mirror and feeling all proud of the bruises on my chest because, like, I was like, "Come on, heart, open up, motherfucker!" And yeah, it was like giving birth to pain. It was just excruciating because all those feelings had to be felt. All those ones that I pushed away, especially the ones around that grief.
Yeah.
Grief is the trickiest one, to really actually let it all out. And once it was gone, it was like, oh, God. That was incredible. And so the second half of the journey became bliss, just absolute bliss. At one point, they came and had me, said, "Hey, we're going to move you to another room. You're being a little loud," because I was laughing so just hysterically and freely. And for months afterwards, I was in a state of absolute bliss. The medicine's gone. It's out of my system, and I'm not touching any more psychedelics because I want to see what happens if I just leave this alone. And it was months and months of just absolute bliss and magic, just that liberation of that stuff that was inside that I had to go deal with. I'm going to share another favorite Joseph Campbell quote. "In the cave you fear to enter is the treasure that you seek." And so I went into the cave. I went into that cave inside my heart, and I had to go, yeah, face all the dragons. And it seemed like the point wasn't to go in there with a sword and slay the dragon. The point was to go in there and give the dragon a hug. And then that's like the treasure. Like, okay, the feeling just wanted to be felt. If you actually go in there and actually just feel it, then it leaves. And that just created this sort of like, yeah, magic way of living. And once I was able to feel like all the like beautiful feelings were just that much deeper. It was a very different way of being, and it was palpable. Like you talked, I think, earlier about this metaphor being held down. So my best friend, who's known me since forever, watched the whole thing unfold, and she's like, "Damn, it was like you were a spring held down for 25 years, and then pew."
It's like Tigger. I'm seeing like
Yeah,
Tigger's
yeah.
just
Yeah, thank God I calmed down. Yeah, this is the subdued version, many years later.
wow.
It was, yeah, euphoric, to be that free and that alive and that full of love.
Hey there, it's me, V. So, as you can imagine, this is my first podcast. And so I'm learning all of these new ropes. And did you know how important ratings were? I didn't. I had absolutely no idea. And I'm so thankful for the support of my team for reminding me of how important having your ratings, your honest reflection of the podcast, how much that benefits us. So, I'm that annoying person in the middle of everyone else's episodes that I fast forward that hopefully you're listening to right now. And if you've got 30 seconds, it would mean the absolute world to us if you could take a moment and just rate this podcast, give it a thumbs up, share it with your bestie that you want to go head to head with, so we can continue to spread this message, debate about the truth, find what the truth is, and have the kinds of conversations that truly help us awaken in integrity. All right. Back to the episode. One thing that really stood out to me in what you were speaking about was when you said there is no such thing as a bad trip.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people would debate this.
Fair, let's do it.
And I've seen people who have had different medicine journeys. We're talking about psilocybin here, so I'm going to kind of open up my perspective a bit here, if that's okay.
Sure.
And they have had very sometimes demonic experiences with different forms of entities, because when you think about the experience of who's brewing the medicine in some different types of medicine experiences, who the lineage is that it's connected to, who is also there. There can sometimes be different dark type entities that can be there. Some people really struggle with the integration aspect, which for you, it sounds like you were set free and the euphoria continued. Some people, it feels like they never kind of get out of that loop. And so I'm curious for you what your stance is on it not being a bad trip. Why do you say that?
So I'll caveat a little bit. I think what I said was there's no such thing as a bad trip, but maybe a badly planned trip. I did throw in a little caveat there because, yeah, you can use this stuff irresponsibly
Mm.
in a poorly planned way, and it can be an absolute nightmare. I run across people my age who had experiences of doing psychedelics in their teen years around a bunch of assholes. And so here you are in this vulnerable place and you're getting freaking tormented or something.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, you're taking the medicine, unfortunately, with somebody who should not be trusted with it. The psychedelic world is just like every, other church and organization in this world is full of very flawed humans.
Mm.
And there are stories of people working in the medicine who take advantage of others financially, upselling them, maybe even when they're on the medicine. Tragic stories of sexual abuse.
Yes.
So there is dangers out there. I don't want to pretend that there isn't. But I think my point in saying get rid of the idea of a bad trip and think about a challenging one presupposes that somebody is in, a safe, held
Yes.
environment.
Mm.
I am presupposing that.
Mm.
And if that is the case, then maybe some of that, stuff that's coming up is trying to tell you something and can be integrated.
So how do I know that my environment is set up
Mhm.
for something truly sacred? Because I think
Sure.
sometimes it's very true. Some people go on their awakening journey and it's kind of just like that thing you do,
Mhm.
right? I'm awakened now. Let me do ayahuasca, right? All the people do it. So there is a part of like this kind of like cult-like wave of people in the
Sure.
awakening community that want to taste the rainbow. Those are the assholes over here.
Mhm.
But then there are also people who think, well, let's say some of your friends wanted to do it and you felt like, oh, okay, well, I trust Fred, because Fred said we were going to go do the thing and I trust him. But then you get there and you're in a completely different environment. And maybe you thought you could trust the sacredness of the container, but then the facilitator shows maybe something not ethical, right?
Yeah,
They try to
yeah.
upsell you in the middle of the experience.
Sure.
Like, how did you know and how do you know
Mhm.
the medicine that you're going to be participating in the environment is safe?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So I will highlight a little bit the book here. So A Trip of a Lifetime is kind of that self-help book for the audience that, I don't know, I feel like nobody's really written that really like friendly, simple, entertaining, engaging, like self-help book around psychedelics. So this is my attempt to give you the 10 habits of highly psychedelic people. And so it's divided into thirds: preparation before the trip, navigation during the trip, and integration after the trip. And the reason I bring that up is so I devote roughly a third of the book to preparation
Love it.
to answer questions just like that. What medicine is calling to me? And I describe, 8 of them in the introduction. And then it talks to that question of, yeah, who do I trust in this sacred space? So for some people, that is going to be a therapist, like with MDMA treatments with, vets with PTSD, for example. It's typically one or I think maybe even two therapists. So there is a safe environment. They are checking you out physically. They are monitoring you. They're following up with you. So that's an extremely safe environment. I am called to group ceremonies personally. So when I first decided to do this, I didn't have any connections. I didn't know a lot of the players in the psychedelic world, and it's COVID, and I don't really want to leave the country. So I just researched and researched to find the safest one I could find. So the Sacred House of Eden wound up being it. They'd been around a while. They have a operating out in the open website. The woman's got a PhD in psychology. And in some retreats, there's actually reviews online and Retreats Guru.
Right.
So you can kind of do your research almost as if you're like picking out a psychologist or a doctor or, whatever you may be looking for. There is, that presence there. And also a personal recommendation means a lot.
Yeah.
I have people I've come to really trust, and so when people wanna go experience, ayahuasca or iboga, like, I have places I can point to them. And also, we have to trust ourselves, like, there is that gut awareness of, like, "I don't know, everything looks great, but when I talk to you before the medicine, I don't know, my gut just kinda clenches a little bit.
Yes.
Maybe that's not a good fit. Oh, maybe I need to do medicine with a woman and not a man because of the stuff I'm dealing with." Like, there's a lot to think about. And so that preparation piece is putting together what is the safe container for me to
Yes.
experience this most vulnerable moment. Because if I don't feel safe. I'm not going to be able to really let go, really surrender, and do the work that I need to do in here. I have a personal rule around psychedelics. I do not do psychedelics alone. I want at least one other person there. I think that brings safety. Like when we're alone, we can't really let go. Like we're always a little bit vulnerable. What if something happens, right? But if we have that one trusted person there, okay, we can let go a little bit. If the smoke detector goes off, they're going to help me. If I am stumbling to the bathroom, they'll make sure I'm safe, and then I can let go. And I think in a group setting, in a ceremonial setting, which is my favorite, it's like this other layer. It's like, oh, I am in a tribe, and we're all healing together. And there's that safety in that number of the tribe, and that, I don't know, that magical communal healing that can only happen in community. You know, we're wounded in relationship to other people, and we're healed in relationship to other people. So I think that communal, connecting, relational aspect of psychedelics is foundational for most of the healing work that we need to do, certainly for me.
Well, I love the way that you prepare in the book, but also like how you guide the people around you to have the right preparation. I think that that's what takes healing into true embodiment, and then it just being this thing that we consume where you can spend, thousands and thousands of dollars because someone put it on their social media stories, and you go and fly there and you have absolutely no idea about how the land is going to receive you, how the spirits on the land are going to receive you, how the other people are going to receive you, or how the actual facilitator is in real time. One thing I say about my discernment metric is that I need to see consistency of behavior before I can trust somebody. Because if somebody is not fully in their truth, it'll slip through the cracks at some point, especially with facilitators. You really want to be mindful that you're noticing consistency of energy. And so I love that you shared kind of like that gut feeling. Now, personally, I love that you would go to group ceremonies. I agree that we heal better with other people, but there ain't no way in flying fucking hell I am sitting in a group with a bunch of other people who I don't know vibrationally. I don't know what types of things they're dealing with on a spiritual, psychic level. No way. For me personally, I'm curious about my listeners if they've either partaken in it with like maybe the facilitator's in check, you're in check, the space is in check, but then like Hannah over here is like doing the most. And for you, you were just having a blissful, euphoric experience. Someone could be having a type of experience that in my world as a psychic, I can see different entities latching, attaching. Like I see it from more of an unseen realm versus like, I'm processing my own shadow and I'm having these memories that are coming up that are being released. So from an unseen point of view, there's so much that happens in the plant medicine spaces that are unseen that personally, I would never cross that line to do it in a group setting. Would I do it, you and me in a healthy container? For sure, especially with, a third of some sort that's kind of holding the integrity of the energy. But personally, the idea of in the time of awakening that we're at, with the unpredictabilities of energies in the world, and then in a group space where the vibration is so intense and everybody has unique experiences, I cannot in truth do something like that in group ceremonies. So I just wanted to speak to that. Curious what, have people had reservations about group experiences? What are your thoughts on group trickery, different types of experiences that can happen in group?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up. I think it goes to the point of everybody's needs and experiences are entirely unique.
Yeah.
Just because I thrive on group ceremony doesn't mean it's for you. It sounds like maybe it's not.
No, that is a no.
Yeah, but for me, it is essential. It is actually essential. And maybe, well, there's a few reasons for that, but I do believe that healing happens, in relation.
I agree with that.
And I have found, an ability to, I don't know, connect and feel the energy and have it wash over me. Like, I know what you're talking about, the energy of a room when that much is going on, but for some reason, I don't seem to take it on. It seems to wash over me, and I kind of like enjoy watching it flow. I mean, this is the dance of healing. I've had moments where I'm done with my process, and I'll just go up and I'll just watch the whole symphony of the ceremony just unfolding, and it's maybe crying over here and laughing over here and vomiting over here, and to me that's just the song of the universe. That's humanity's song of healing. So I dig it, but we should all follow our own hearts. And I've had people in ceremony whose energy doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
And what I do in those cases is I will get up and I will go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around energy that doesn't feel good to me. And if somebody's being, exceptionally loud, maybe that's just doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
And so we are there in ceremony for ourselves. And so just like we should listen to ourselves when we're contemplating, do I trust this person to hold space? We should, trust that gut too. If in ceremony it says, hey, maybe move away from that person and go find somewhere else to go. I mean, we are our own greatest healer. And the more we can listen to the best part of ourselves, the highest self, the more we're, guided by the divine.
Well, I love what you shared here about like being able to trust yourself. And also, the two big things are the definition of ceremony, I suppose, in this context. We're using plant medicine here, but then also healing. And sometimes being in a group with a bunch of other women who are doing Pilates together that are hanging out and having a good time can be healing because perhaps it could feel like a ceremony. We're all doing in synchronicity, we're all doing the same movement and we're breathing and we're laughing and connecting. That might be healing for me. And that might be the same sort of experience, maybe not necessarily to the degree, but still a definition of healing and ceremony. And so I wonder, maybe the nuance here is, yes, we do heal together. We have to be together. We are meant to be in relationship with others. And maybe we don't need to do psilocybin, in a ceremony space to call it healing or to call it relating. And perhaps it can be, to your point here, if you trust what's going on in here and you follow what your calling is, your medicine, your sacred spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can absolutely happen without the psychedelic medicine. I work with the medicine because it seems to be, for me and for many people I work with, like the fast track
Okay.
to that. But there's certainly other ways that we can find community and community healing. One of the most powerful experiences I ever had was a week at the Hoffman Institute. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, so they're all over the world. They've been around for decades, but it's basically therapy boot camp. You go there, and for 7 days, they take away your phone and all your distractions. Beforehand, you do hours of homework about your mommy and daddy issues. So, like, you're coming to deal with that stuff. And for like 12, 13 hours a day, you're there in these group environments, like dealing with all of your mommy and daddy shit and really going into those caves, like I talked about with the medicine. And I went into some caves that week and I looked at some stuff about myself I did not want to see. And when it came to the end of the week, I was like, wow, that was as powerful as almost any plant medicine ceremony I've had. And there was no substances the entire week other than my trusty caffeine. And so that taught me, like, okay, psychedelics are a tool. They're a tool. And that place that we are going to with psychedelics can be found through other ways. It can be found through breath work. It can be found through retreat centers like the Hoffman Institute and other places. Like, it's definitely out there. But for me, I don't know, maybe I'm a super responder, but it works so profoundly well for me. And I don't want anybody to template their experience of like, oh, Benjamin did 5 grams of psychedelics and cured his depression in a night. I can go do the same thing. That's not how it works. Your experience is going to be completely different depending on your needs, your brain chemistry, the environment, and a million other variables. Like, your results will vary. So I don't want anybody to see my psychedelic experience and think like, oh, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I love that you're bringing up that nuance, but I also love that you're saying, listen, it's not psychedelics, ride or die, are the only things that I'm open to. I think that's also a really important nuance. Like, you also heal outside of psychedelics or bring the experiences you have in ceremony and take it into different forms of ceremony as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I talked earlier about, SSRIs and therapy not working for me. Once I experienced psychedelics, therapy started working because they taught me how to navigate around my insides.
Love it.
And once I gained those skills, I could bring that into therapy, and it suddenly worked. Now, I had one therapist introduce me to IFS, internal family systems, and after psychedelics, that made so much sense to me because I kind of like experienced all those, parts, and now was able to like engage with them. Other areas of life just kind of fell into place once I got my, core problem out of the way.
Yes. Well, I think from one perspective, I know you said, like, you like the fast track. See, I like the right track, which sometimes isn't always fast. So I want to highlight that, for some people, they've maybe experienced a lot of psychedelics. Just like you said, this is not a one size fits all, but maybe people have had multiple different trips, multiple different journeys. And every time maybe there's that one root that just feels like a knot, and they keep kind of coming back to it.
Mhm.
And it might not be fast, but it might be right.
Yes, and I do think part of the reason my response was so immediate is because my problem was actually very simple. Like, how quickly I was able to summarize, like, "Oh, my heart was clogged up because I didn't know how to feel. Now I learned how to feel." Like, in a certain sense, it actually was that simple for me. That was the root of my depression. But I'm also very well aware and have had clients who, yeah, have very complex problems, very complex PTSD, and it's not as simple
Yeah.
as, you know? And so it can be a series of medicine ceremonies. It can be, hopefully that in conjunction with the therapist, or maybe medicine just isn't what they need. Because I have, friends who in the medicine world, and I have, thought to myself and even gently said to them, like, yeah, I don't think this is working for you.
Okay, talk to
C-
me about that.
So, I know people who have done medicine ceremony after medicine ceremony after medicine ceremony, and from the outside, it doesn't look to me like they're necessarily in a better place.
Mm,
And I think there can be a lot of reasons for that. One is just maybe medicine isn't their path. Maybe when they're in the medicine, they're actually not willing to go do the hard
right,
work.
right.
And maybe even most likely is they don't do the integration afterwards, because it's so simple to go off to an ayahuasca retreat in Costa Rica, have this amazing experience and see God and recognize all the, changes you need to make in your life. And then Monday you're back at work and you're doing the same shit you've always been doing, and you don't make any changes to your relationships or your work or your, habits. Like, well, all you had was an interesting experience. And I love an interesting experience, but that's not why we do this, right?
Yes.
And so the integration is the most important part. I have more chapters in the book on integration than any other topic, because that's the one where we really need to dive in. And I get it's that can be hard, right? Because we go back to life and there's demands upon our time, and kids and boss and spouses like want things from us, and it's hard to carve out that time, for ourselves to integrate.
Mm.
But we have to, otherwise we're, squandering, an opportunity.
Yeah, the whole point,
Yeah.
which is that you end up becoming the medicine, which is the whole
Yeah,
topic that we
yeah.
are really standing on here, which is
Yeah.
that you are the medicine.
Yeah, so I had a very interesting experience with MDMA. I do use it from time to time with people I'm close to typically. And after introducing a friend of mine to it, when the medicine wore off, she said, I think you and I could get to this exact same place without the medicine. And I responded, absolutely, I think we could too. Because in MDMA, what people typically experience, certainly what we did, was like, oh, these defenses are lowered and I'm in a place of empathy and I'm really being present for you and I'm willing to like look at my stuff. Like, all that energy, you can actually do that without the
Yeah.
medicine. And I think if we're doing medicine well and in alignment with who we are, the gap between who we are in the medicine and who we are outside the medicine maybe gets
Yeah.
closer and closer, and then we just, drop the medicine and we are the medicine. I mean, that's a jokey little phrase I used to use with my friends sometime. I am the medicine.
So wait, you said then maybe some point there might be a merging and then there would no longer be any medicine. Is that something that's in your cards at this point of your
Oh, that's a good question.
spring chickening now?
That's a good question. I mean, so I quote at the end of the book, the famous Alan Watts quotes about psychedelics: when you get the message, hang up the phone. Right? And so why hasn't Ben hung up the phone yet? I mean, for one, I'm an adventurer. I mean, that's what I loved about the military. That was a fucking adventure. And then when I discovered psychedelics, like, oh, I see this new adventure, my own consciousness. And so I do enjoy going there. I recently went to Enfold, not far from here, and had an experience with 5-MeO DMT. And I was asked, why are you coming? I said, honestly, curiosity.
Mm.
Curiosity. I feel called. And when I got there, it turned out there was some, work to do. But, yeah, I do believe for me, medicine will always be a part of my life. And so, for example, every 4 months or so, I will typically do an ayahuasca ceremony with my same trusted circle. And people do ask, like, why do you keep going back? I say, well, I don't know. Why do you go to church every Sunday? This is how I connect with the divine. This is how I connect with my highest self. This is how I commune with others. And this is, frankly, how I can be helpful to others. I've assisted in ayahuasca ceremonies too. I take pleasure in emptying the puke bucket.
Ew.
Let me be part of your purge.
Absolutely not.
Hey, people always get scared about the purge of ayahuasca, but I'm telling you, I have come to love the purge. I love it because on the other side of the purge, it is like being on the good side of an exorcism. It's the
Okay.
best.
Well, no. That is
Good, more ayahuasca for me.
We will never agree on that. But okay, here's the thing. I got to get into this with you.
Okay.
There's
Ooh,
something
get
I
into it.
talk about,
Okay.
and I talk about how on my spiritual journey, I'll never move from two places.
Okay.
Curiosity or desire.
Mm.
And then you put curiosity and called next to each other, which they're not the same thing. Curiosity is like, oh, I wonder what's on the other side. But called is like a genuine feeling. So which one was it, Ben?
Oh, don't make me decide, but I actually I'm gonna stand up on die on the hill of curiosity.
Okay, so it's
I
curiosity.
will. I think one of the gifts that the divine gave me is a very curious mind.
Okay.
Like as a child, I would just pore over all these books on the bookshelves of my parents' home because I was just so curious. And I think it's what makes good relationships too. Like
Okay.
the friends that I have and enjoy, I think what makes it really beautiful is we're very curious about each other.
Okay.
Like, oh, how does your brain work?
Yes.
And like, oh, you look at things that way.
Yeah, but that's
and-
different than doing ayahuasca every 4 months because I'm curious about what I'm going to find. That's different. Because my friend,
well,
I'm curious.
Hold on. I said I went to Edfold on 5-MeO for curiosity. I didn't
Okay.
say that about
Not
ayahuasca.
ayahuasca.
No, for
Okay.
ayahuasca, what I said was, why do you go to church every Sunday? This is how I connect with the
Noted.
divine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's different from curiosity.
So you did whatever that other
This
thing
is
was.
a spiritual debate. Let's just get our facts straight, lady.
No, it's important. Everybody should be holding everybody's facts straight. That's what we're doing here, right? When I'm talking about curiosity, I'm specifically talking about like spiritual exploration. With friendships, connections, of course, I should always stay curious. Isn't that the whole point of spirituality? Is connections is to stay open. When it comes to exploring spiritual things. So like, for example, in my world, on this side of like the channeling world, I do a lot of channeling, channeling different extraterrestrials, light beings, spirit guides, etc. I will never go call my dead grandma just because I'm curious to hear how she's doing. Why? Because she's at peace. And if she wanted to talk to me, she would naturally be here. So I don't move from that, oh, I'm curious about this, I'm curious about that. Not anymore, simply because I know what's on the other side of the unseen
I feel like the word curious triggered you a little.
No, it's really a word that I actually use as like a foundation in philosophy because on this awakening journey, I don't know how much you know about my work, but I teach about how to create a safer space to awaken, which is why I don't particularly subscribe to retreats where there's lots of people and they're participating in plant medicine because we have to be very careful about the different types of, particularly I work with entities, energies, beings and groups that can infiltrate the unseen world. So everything I see is unseen. So if I'm curious about something, I won't participate.
So I think we're very different in that way. Because
Exactly.
everything you just listed off, I don't even believe in that stuff.
Oh, you don't believe? Now tell me about that.
So I am a minimalist about most things in life.
Okay.
And after my experience with the divine, I have found I've naturally become a minimalist about my spiritual beliefs as well. I
Okay.
have very few spiritual beliefs.
Tell me.
I mean, one of them is I believe in divine appointments.
Okay.
I believe that there are people that we are somehow supposed to meet, and
Yep.
maybe it's for a conversation, maybe it's for a lifetime, who knows? But yeah, like, oh, I see why that connection happened. Interesting. I also believe in the divine. I typically avoid the word God because I think there's a lot of baggage with that word,
True.
and nobody wants to define it and ask me if I believe in God. Well, I don't know. Give me your definition. I'll tell you if I do or not, right? And I also think like the ultimate reality is beyond belief. And I will I will give this spiritual belief because it's so simple. We come from the divine, we have this human experience, we return to the divine. And why does it need to be any more complicated than that? Can I give another quote from Joseph Campbell?
Bring it on.
All right. People say that we're all looking for the meaning for life. I don't think that's what we're really looking for. No. I think what we're really looking for is the experience of being alive. An experience that resonates with our innermost being so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive. So I'm actually not that interested in spiritual beliefs. I think they're actually even unhelpful in a lot of cases.
Mm.
And the God that can be described is not God, right?
Hmm.
So I prefer to exist in a place of experience driven by heart, driven by curiosity, driven by love. And I am not interested in collecting spiritual beliefs.
Mm.
I did go see a medium recently.
Okay, so at least you're a little bit open.
It's because I'm curious.
Ah,
I said I don't believe in those things. That doesn't mean I can't be curious.
so you went in as a skeptic.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah, and I
good.
told her that.
Very
I
helpful.
told her that, and she said that's good because there's a lot of con people in this
Yes,
world.
yeah.
Yeah, so she applauded the skepticism, and I'd never seen a medium before, and I did go there because I was curious to talk to my dad. Yeah, I know. I'm using the word now just to like get under your skin. And so we connected with my dad. She described the energy she was feeling. I said, yeah, that sounds like him.
Hmm.
And yeah, he had some interesting things to say to me, and like, yeah, God damn it, that had to be him. It was too specific. It was too personal. It was too exactly what I would have wanted to have heard from my dad in that moment. And this woman had just met me. She knew nothing about me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, interesting.
Well, it works for you in that you're following your curiosities.
Yeah.
You know, in my personal philosophy, I was like, there was no point in that conversation, even though it probably was amazing.
Oh, but there was.
But let me speak. But the part of you that would want to call and connect with your dad is the part of you that has your own work to do in this lifetime, whether that be for a lot of people with mediums. The connection might be, well, I'm grieving my loss of my father, or I want to hear from him. Well, my philosophy is if he wants to talk to you, he'll call you, right? You don't have to go call him. Personal philosophy on that. And also, the grief is the human's work to clean up. We don't need a psychic to hold that. Actually, we have an amazing psychic medium who's going to be on the podcast. I want to debate her about this. Julie Ryan is fantastic. But I personally would never follow a curiosity to connect with the deceased unless, as somebody who isn't a skeptic, who channels these beings, if I'm in meditation, I will talk to my grandmother if she wants to come through. So perhaps that's maybe a differentiator, is that at this point in your journey, you're not even maybe aware that you have access to that connection potentially with your father on your own.
Yeah.
Because you could.
I think what we're speaking to just goes to show that we all have our very different paths, right? And I think to that point, it was a couple episodes ago where there was a guest on who had a very, I would say, negative view of psychedelics.
Yes.
And I honor like her experience. Like her experience made sense to me. I think what rubbed me a little bit was she was trying to take a template of her specific personal experience and put it onto other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's unwise because we're all so unique. And I don't want to do that either. Like I referred to a little bit earlier, this tells, amongst other things, it does tell the story of my experience. And my experience and my path is not your path.
Waking up can feel like your whole world is turned upside down, and there's no one there to catch you. Whoa!
And so you ask yourself, who am I? What's my purpose? What are my gifts? And years later, you're still asking yourself the same questions. Cue the Sovereign Healer, the only psychic development and energy healing sovereign development school that'll help you understand your unique abilities without leaving your meditation cushion. Let's get it.
And so I try to be really careful in the language of the book to make sure that's always clear. Like your path is your own path. You don't have to, follow mine. And also I think every principle I'm talking about in the book is universal. So, okay, psychedelics aren't your path, but you can still learn about surrender. You can still learn about the rapture of being alive. There's a chapter on creativity, a chapter on loving yourself shamelessly. Like not a single principle like in the book actually necessitates psychedelics.
I love that.
But for me, my path, I don't think it could have been done without psychedelics. It could not have been done. I really believe that. This was, a divine appointment to go meet that mushroom on April 16th of 2021. It was. So I guess I'm glad that there's this opportunity for me to talk about like kind of the other side of plant medicine and her to talk about maybe some of the negatives. But I do think there was a middle ground that I found at the end of the podcast. And I think the middle ground that you and I can certainly agree on is that if we are to experience these medicines, if we feel called to them, which I certainly did, it should be in the right container.
100%.
It should be in that space that is supportive and loving and one that has medically cleared you. I mean, to make it as safe
Yeah.
as possible, the safer it is, the more we can, let go and have that surrender and have that experience. And in the previous guest, I mean, some of the environments she talked about taking these medicines on, to me, felt irreverent.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I would never take psychedelics in an irreverent way. This has become for me, a spiritual path, and it is a legitimate spiritual path. Spiritual use of psychedelics predates Christianity. So, yeah, I know there is abuse of it in this world. We could probably talk a lot more about that, like the commercialization of it and the
100%.
tech bro use of it and the casual ketamine use to help you
100%.
code AI better, whatever the hell's going on out there. Like, to me, that's irreverence.
Yes.
Like, to me, the value of psychedelics is therapeutic and or ceremonial.
Yeah.
I think those can be the same thing, but they don't have to be, maybe.
Yeah. You know, what I gather from you is if, I don't know, we're existing in a time where we wake up tomorrow and there's no plant medicine on this planet, for whatever reason, you would still be able to have access to the divine in your own heart and feel alive in your life. At least that's what I'm sensing from you.
So I had that one big experience with psilocybin. If I had never touched psychedelics again, it still would have been the most pivotal moment in my life.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I knew right away from my first experience, as soon as I had my first night, I turned to the psychologist and said, "This is the most interesting thing in the world. I need to be a part of this somehow." Like it was, just like I talked about God, like going in and flipping the switch. It was like, okay, there's your purpose. And I literally am devoting the rest of my life to this work. I think it is essential. And I think specifically there's a lot of work that I could do with men. I mean, I think probably, 80% of this world's problems are caused by men who don't know how to process their emotions in a healthy way. Well, God damn it, I've been in that fucking cave and I came out and here's the treasure and here's the dragon.
You know, I think the thing that we really connect on here is the integrity piece. You have used plant medicine in integrity. You have been in the right containers. You have respected the medicine. And that is the entire foundation of what I'm teaching. A safer space to awaken. I'm not saying don't do plant medicine or don't do it in group ceremony.
Sure.
I don't think we ever got, that was not the point. The point was the intentionality behind the medicine and the mindfulness of the reverence of the unique coding within the medicine and the right energy that's guiding people to it. And I love, actually, my sister, she caught the recent episode before our episode. And she said, this girl made me think about the fact that maybe I would, stop my regular microdosing of psilocybin. And I said, wait for my episode with Ben and then make your conclusion, because my sister suffers from a traumatic brain injury. 11 years ago, her and I were on vacation and she fell off the golf cart and suffered a TBI. Like catastrophic, lost her taste and smell forever. And pretty significant blindness. They put her on a whole concoction of medication. Of course, right? For what you name it, antidepressant, blah, blah, blah. She said to me, I cured my antidepressant, my depression with psilocybin. And I said, well, hold on to that thought and let's see what you think about the end of this. She says, but, I kind of take it on the regular now, just a little bit here and there, in a non-ceremonial, in a very casual kind of way. In that case, if it's something that's just casual being used now and, she had her, similar to you, it wasn't like this, but over time using the psilocybin, it actually supported her in getting off of all of her medication, being able to cure her depression. Would you say to somebody who's just kind of taking it casually,
I mean, that doesn't necessarily sound casual to me. It sounds like she's treating it as a medicine and she's taking her pills as directed,
I love that
So I
perspective.
don't think it's necessarily a problem. Maybe it's my personality. I've never been particularly interested in microdosing. My adventurous spirit wants to just kind of dive in.
So your adventure is
and have
all the
those-
way in, never just a little bit.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's never called to me, right? And my path doesn't need to be microdosing. Like I don't
Yes.
like this idea that my way has to become other people's ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or like what medicine is for you
Yeah.
is medicine for everybody else.
Yeah. And before, I don't talk about this in the book because it felt like a distraction, but before I tried psilocybin, I also tried ketamine, like in a clinic under the care of a doctor, 8 sessions actually, ultimately. Didn't do anything for me.
Mm.
Didn't do anything for me.
Before your experience, the
Yeah.
big trip of your lifetime.
Yeah.
Huh.
Uh-huh. And I am going down to Costa Rica in October to hold space for some veterans under the medicine of iboga.
I love that.
I've tried iboga a number of times, and yeah, that's not my medicine. I'm happy to go down and hold space for it, but like it's interesting. Like this one transforms my life. This one does nothing for me. This one connects me to the divine. We're all so crazy different. But anyway, going down to hold space for these veterans because iboga, in addition to being known as an addiction disruptor, especially for opioid, it's the most powerful treatment for opioid addiction. We've found amazing results in treating both PTSD and traumatic brain injury amongst vets.
Wow.
And one of the
Iboga.
things I talk about in the introduction is this reality has gained us some amazing and unlikely allies. So Governor Rick Perry from Texas, who was in the first Trump administration, craziest thing. He used to be an Air Force officer too. He has become a huge proponent. He was on the Joe Rogan Experience earlier this year, said, I am the Johnny Appleseed of iboga. I am a complete believer in plant medicine because you cannot argue with the data. This could be the most important medicine brought to, or discovered by humankind.
Wow.
Like the data is unavoidable. To anybody who's looking at the data with an open mind is unavoidable. And that's why when I do hear, comments about death, like I did in the previous podcast, like, okay, let's not exaggerate here. There's no known lethal dose for LSD or psilocybin or San Pedro. And if you're in a safe container, and we've described a little bit what a safe container is, the risk is so low. Anybody who's administering iboga will do an EKG heart test by a doctor beforehand. And if you do that, the risk is almost non-existent. If you're going to do ayahuasca, any reputable medicine carrier is going to clear all of your medications and medical conditions. If we are responsible about this and reverent about it, pretending that it's some kind of physical threat is not supported by the data. And so all these psychedelics, with the exception of ketamine, were made illegal in 1970 by the Nixon administration, and it was purely for political purposes. In Schedule 1, what that means is high potential for abuse and no known medical utility. And that is madness. That's madness. The potential for abuse among psychedelics is so much lower than almost every other medicine that's available to us, and it has an obvious medical utility that has been demonstrated over and over again in universities and by the VA and on and on and on. So it's time to turn the page on the Nixon era, political motivations behind making psychedelics illegal. Not only are they therapeutically helpful, they have a ceremonial spiritual history that goes back longer than most of the religions that we know today. So I think it's time to be honest about what these medicines are and what they can provide, and not treat them as a panacea. This is not a cure-all. It's not going to work for everybody. I'll say that over and over again, and I wrote it in the book, but let's face the reality of what this means, both therapeutically and spiritually, because for people like me, it can be life-changing. And I think to, deny that to people is, we continue to do, certainly in America. I'm not speaking for Canada. It's, I would say, immoral. It is immoral.
It would be wrongful of you to not fulfill the mission.
Yeah,
right?
This is the mission.
It would be wrongful of you to not fulfill the mission that the divine has given you.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever the fuck people think or how they agree with it, it's always in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
And you are such a beautiful example of following your mission. So before I ask my final question about if you are the medicine, I want you to paint me a picture.
Sure.
Because you're an artist like me, so give me the whole thing. What would the world look like? You're fully on your mission and you've impacted the world as much as you possibly can to understand your philosophies, your experiences about plant medicine.
Oh.
What would it look like?
So in the subtitle, the Psychedelic Guide to Healing, Loving, and Living. So I would see a world where people are very sincere and courageous about going in to do that healing and facing the stuff that's difficult to face. And within that, definitely the recognition of, the need for masculine healing in particular, because we tend to stifle so much. The loving, because God damn it, once we clear that shit out of the way, we can love so much better because we're not controlled by the patterns. We can actually love in a conscious, more pure way. And living, oh my God. I mean, this life is such a fucking gift. It's such a fucking gift. And most of us are sleepwalking through it, where we are caught in these patterns and looking at our phones and just forgetting to like connect in a human way and forgetting to be, free and creative like the way we were as children. And a lot of this medicine is like kind of going back to the best of a child, right?
So
Who we
true.
were before the
So true.
world convinced us we were something else. And yeah, for me, that is this very creative, joyful, mischievous,
Curious.
curious, entity
Yeah.
who just really wants to fucking connect and play. And I've loved getting back in touch with that part of myself. And you know what? When I need to go, fight a good fight and be a man, I can do that too. And when I need to go and get in touch with a feeling and really like allow it to have some space within me, oh, I can do that too. And that doesn't make me a child. It doesn't make me feminine. It doesn't make me some character of masculinity. When I can play all these different games, I'm a full fucking human being.
Yes.
Oh, wait, like get the mic off so I can drop it. What do you do?
Yeah, that's good. I'll bill that to you
okay.
later, okay? I'll
Okay.
send that to your house.
We'll
whatever
edit
that bill
in.
is. Well, I really fucking stand for your mission. And I am so thankful that you brought your medicine
Yeah.
here today, because I was already converted for the most part on your side of the street, because the women of my bloodline have utilized plant medicine, marijuana for some. I shared with you psilocybin, and it has really helped some of the women of my bloodline. It has become dependency in some places, but hey, we're also human.
Yeah.
I think humans learn through extreme, and sometimes those trips may be a big challenge, and then we learn from that. Or sometimes we have beautiful trips and it feels like euphoria, and the integration is really challenging. But the extreme aspect of the human nature we learn from to find whatever that balance is. And I feel like I'm speaking to someone who has found what their calling is, the right utilization of the medicine that allows them to fully be who they are. And I just have a deep admiration and respect for that. Even if I'll never join you in a group ceremony, if I ever had a client who was really called to the medicine, I know I could connect you. I have clients who are really deep in medicine ceremony space that are probably like, oh, I want to have a chat with Benjamin because he gets it. And maybe with the episode before, they felt like this is giving, new age spirituality kind of addiction without context and reverence for the actual medicine. And so I have so much respect for you. I appreciate the work you're doing. You've got this extraordinary book. I feel like we've touched on it a lot. Is there anything you feel called to share about it?
No. I think we've shared enough. And if you are curious, please pick it up. I really tried to put my my heart and soul and essence into that book. It's beautiful to me.
Well, you're a beautiful spirit. You really are. You guys don't get it. We started this episode with a little bit of, should I turn it up? Well, my friends, we're going to leave you with this question. Are you the medicine? I think today we hit so many different angles, and now hopefully you've got a whole picture so you can decide for yourself. Are you the medicine? Well, we'll leave it with you. See you soon.